Today, we are bringing you a special podcast with a true legend in the sport of fly fishing. Jim Teeny is a wonderful man who has dedicated his lifetime to the industry. Jim and Donna Teeny are a team of the finest people in the game. Their accomplishments and energy have inspired many anglers around the world.
Well, good day, everyone, and welcome to another segment here of Fly Fishing Pass It On. This podcast, we like to reach out to fly fishermen around the country that have really contributed a lot to our sport over the years. And I've got an old buddy of mine, Jim Teeny, on today. And Jim's been fly fishing for longer than I can remember. He's contributed so much to the industry in many, many different ways. So, Jim, I'd like to say hello again. It's been a long time since we've seen you.
You know, Brent, I missed not seeing you and Diane, and we do go way back, and it's been a great journey, been fun.
It was. We
So
were wearing younger guys' clothes at that time, they say, right? But all's good. You're looking
I
good.
know. Well, thank you. I mean, time goes by, and for all of us, and but I heard a long time ago that God doesn't deduct the days that a person spends fishing from their life. So we're just trying to fish as much as we can.
Well, that's right. That's good advice. Yeah, I like that way. That sounds. We're going to be here a while then. That's good.
Yes,
So
sir.
when you talk about timelines, Jim, you and Don have been in the fly fishing business for over 50 years.
Yeah, no, it's been actually the 1st of July will be 55 years.
Wow, isn't that
Yeah,
amazing?
we started July 1, 1971. So yeah, I mean, it's been really a great industry, great people, and we love it. It's changed a lot. Nothing's the same anymore, and I'm sure you know that. There's not near as many fly shops now, and everybody kind of the new generation want to fast forward because they've got like a cell phone, and they want to shoot a video and then they post it, and they want to fast forward. They don't really care about the history and how everything that how fly fishing has evolved, and there's been some major good changes in fly fishing, but it's different, you know.
Oh, it sure is. And like you say, we tend to get all caught up in the new technology, like you say, and everybody's, we're getting into it, and we're trying to fit our way into that as well, Jim. But um, it's so nice when you can talk to fellows who've been around and done it for many, many years, not only just for your experience and what you've accomplished, but kind of bring it back to square one, like right from when you started fly fishing to what it's become today. It's been quite a evolution, hasn't it? Like, when did you start fly fishing, or what got you into the fly fishing business?
Well, I was 12 years old. My good friend Jim Bagley moved from Portland to Bend, Oregon with his parents. And one of my trips over there visiting with him, he says, "Come on, I want to show you what I'm doing." And went into his bedroom, and on his desk he had a vise and some feathers and hooks, and he put it. And I looked and I went, "Man, that looks like fun." So we went to Bob's Sporting Goods. And for anybody that knows Bend, Oregon, because it's really big now, there was one traffic light in when this happened when I was 12. Anyway, I got my first vise, hooked feathers, and got started. And then May of 1960, 1962. My friend Dan Shocker and I were going to go to East Lake. So I'm tying up some flies in the basement. My dad and mom were watching TV upstairs, and I come running upstairs. "Hey, Dad, what do you think of these?" I held out my hand, and he said, "Well, they look pretty, but," he says, "I'm not sure if they'll catch any fish." He says, "Why don't you just make something ugly?"
Yeah.
So I went back downstairs, laid all the material that I had to put out, and I had the ringneck pheasant tail feather was the ugliest. It was kind of brown and black and green. There was no sex appeal, nothing. you know. So I thought, well, that's the ugliest feather. So I tied up about 8 or 10 of them, and then we got to East Lake, and my first cast, I saw this beautiful rainbow cruising about, he was probably 5 to 6 pounds, just a gorgeous fish all alone. So I cast out ahead of him, let the fly sink. And as soon as it got close enough, I started hand twist, crawling the fly back, came right over and picked it up. And I got so excited. And when he went to run, I held on to the reel handle and I broke him off. And I
Yeah.
remember seeing him after that. He's shaking his head, swimming away, shaking his head, swimming away. And
Yeah.
anyway, that was my introduction to with the flying. It was just we went to Diamond Lake. It's been a pattern now that we can fish 12 months out of the year, saltwater, freshwater. I've got different colors now and sizes and variations, but always the ringneck pheasant feather is in there and is mostly the main compartment, main component of that. But it's a good fly, and I'm not saying it's always the best, but I'm saying it's consistent. It
Yeah.
works.
Yeah. Well,
So
you're quite unique in one way. Me being a fly tyer and tying as many different patterns for different species and all kinds of things, I get way too many
are
flies. Like
are
Dale
you
looked
there?
in that fly box, he said, gives me a headache. He said, you got too many patterns, and you've got it dumbed right down basically to the Teeny Nymph, which is just a pheasant tail, and you've taken every species that swims with that fly, haven't you?
Yeah, we have. We've taken everything from bluegill to tarpon. I mean, we
Wow.
sharks, barracuda, bonefish, boxfish. I mean, snook. I can't. I mean, honestly, those are all like saltwater type, and then
Yeah.
Atlantic salmon, king salmon, chums, sockeyes, rainbows,
Yeah.
bass. It's just, you know what, I know that one of the things is you have to have confidence in what you're using,
Right.
for any fly pattern. I mean, I think when a person goes out, you got to really feel like you're going to get it. I'm so over that right now because
Yeah.
it was, I mean, I've had so many years to use it. Now I just have to figure out the right color or size or style, whether
Yeah.
it's like a leech or a nymph or a sparkle or, things like that. And then what color. And like going to Alaska, we always know that hot pink for sockeyes and chum is deadly. I mean,
Yeah.
so you can zero in on that. So
Sure. Sure.
yeah,
Yeah, makes sense. But you got it shortlisted, right? You got the one pattern, so size and color is what you're down to, and that's where I need to go back to. Is just simple patterns that today. It's just good today as they ever have been, like a hare's ear nymph or whatever it may be, right? And we're getting so
absolutely.
caught up in these new synthetics and eyeballs and rubber legs and all kinds of different things, and they do work and they're fun to tie and fun to fish, and everybody to their own. But you've really made a point of keeping it simple, and you have caught some line record fish with that fly over the years.
Yeah, yeah, we've done really well. Like my wife Donna, she's held like at least 5 women's world records on the fly, but
Yeah,
I've watched her release more than another 5 that would have been world record. But she says I don't want to have to harvest the fish,
no,
so
perfect.
we
That's
put it back. And I mean that's kind of where we're at right now, and like you
yep.
know it's a good place to be.
Oh, absolutely. So how's it fishing with your wife? I know I've got issues with that when you got a wife who fishes so good, we gotta kind of sit in the back. Does she still let you drive the boat and run the net?
Oh my God, yes. I'll tell you, the deal is they must have some kind of scent on their hands because the fish are attracted more to the women than they are to us guys.
Yeah,
And
well, you can't
yeah,
really blame them. If they're looking up the line and see a couple mugs like yours and mine, I think I'd be going elsewhere too.
it's
Yeah.
fun. It's funny, but you know what? What great fishing partners we have,
Oh, yeah.
and
It's like
and this.
winning the lottery, yeah, when you can go fishing with your wife every day. And boy, we really
Oh,
enjoy it now, Jim, that we're retired and fishing all the time together. And so it's a lot of fun. Now,
Yeah.
I was thinking too, like, I mean, a lot of the people uh, know who Jim Teeny is. And then there's a lot of these newcomers that don't know who Jim Teeny is. And I'll tell you, you've done seminars and television episodes. You've wrote several books over the years. And you probably, I think, where you started really stepping into the fame of everything is known for steelhead. You were one of the premium steelhead anglers at one time when you started, right?
Yeah, I did. Actually, when I first tied up the Teeny Nymph, it was for trout. And then we found out, hey, we're getting steelhead on them. And then it was like, okay, now I want to focus on the steelhead, and then it went to salmon and steelhead. And so then I had people call me or talk to me and say, well, does it work for trout? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because I
yeah,
because I focused on steelhead and salmon, and
right.
and so yeah, you gotta let let everybody know that I think if it swims, we got a good shot at hooking it. And
Yeah,
but it's been fun. That the pattern is relatively easy to tie.
it,
It's
it
not like
is.
it's not like a lot of different materials or a lot of different things like that. But everything now, like, I don't know how you know, but I'm sure you do. Hooks, feathers, thread, everything, costs have just escalated, and hooks now are so expensive right now. Everything's gone up.
Right.
You
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I
But
got kind of lucky years ago too, and I have a very simple pattern, and I've kind of wandered away from it a little more than I should. That little enticer fly that I tied years ago, and here's John Randolph very well.
oh, real well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, John was down fish with me for a week, and we were. I just tied this little fly up. It's got a rabbit tail, ice dub for the body, and I spun some rabbit for the collar on a beaded fly. So we're having lunch, and he's got his rod hanging over the side of the boat. He caught
Oh boy.
he caught 5 big rainbows with that rod just hanging over the boat, not even moving it.
Oh my gosh, man, what a deadly pattern that was.
Yeah. And so the opposite kind of happened to me. I knew a really good fly tire. He tied classics and everything, and he was just taking a steelhead trip up north. So I tied him some of those flies with different colors, more of the salmon colors, steelhead. And I asked him to critique the fly for me. And he'd come back to me when he got back and he said, Brent, don't change a thing. That pattern was so simple, but he was out fishing. All those other guys going, he was the last guy through every pool, and he outfished all those guys. And it was hard to believe. But these simple flies, I think, are really the key, aren't they?
Well, they are, and then just I think it goes beyond the fly to presentation.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
the thing is, I mean, you could really have a good fly, but if you don't present it right, you're not going to get as many strikes or result. And so I just think that once you put the whole program together
Yeah,
of changing, figuring it out, and then you're what do you dead drift? Are you stripping? Or whatever? Are you doing it slow? Are you doing it fast? Are you doing it erratic? I mean, you got to put it all together, and it's like a puzzle. But when you put all the pieces together,
yeah.
and then you're consistent, then you're doing a good job. And
That that's a mouthful right there, Jim. You hit it right on the nose because presentation's totally the deal, isn't it?
it,
You can have
it
the best
is.
fly in the country, but if you're not showing it to the fish or not swimming it right, it ain't going to get ate anyway.
Yeah, I really honestly believe that. So, yeah, I just, but you learn a lot too. Like one day when you go out, you just knock the heck out of him,
Yeah,
and then you say, "Man, I'm going back tomorrow," and then you don't do so good. You think, "Man, what happened?"
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It's never like usually if you were going to go for a couple days, the first day is usually the best day, and the second day what happened?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's always slower.
sure,
I don't know
sure.
why, but even with steelhead, I mean, that's how it is. It just,
Yeah,
you can be in one area and you just cream them, and you thought,
right.
man, I can't wait to get back here tomorrow. And then either that you hooked a lot of them, or they moved through, they moved up or something.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah. They're migratory. That's right. They're there. They're
right?
okay. But that brings me on to the next uh, question or something I'd like to talk to you about. And a lot of guys are out there buying fly lines and buying equipment of all sorts. And this guy here, we're chatting with today, folks, Jim Teeny, was the innovator of the sink tip fly line, the integrated fly line. Tell us how that all come to be, Jim.
Well, let me tell you the story because I'm really proud of it. First of all, I was hoping that when I'm gone, I'd be known for the Teeny Nymph fly pattern, which started our business. But I know that it's going to be the fly lines because I changed fly fishing forever with our designs. But way back, um, when I first came out with the lines, was I got my first ones on August 30th, 1983, and that was my birthday. For whatever reason, here
Oh,
comes the
really?
first lines. But going way back, Ben Silknetter was my rep here in the Western States, and then Howard West was in charge of Scientific Anglers, and and then Bruce Charge was running Scientific Anglers back in Midland, Michigan. Excuse me. So I about 5 or 6 years prior to that, because we were having to cut and splice lines, I got a hold of Bruce and I says, Bruce, why don't you make a shooting head with a built-in running line so there's no knot, there's no splice, there's no hinging, it's smooth transition, just boom, all one piece. He came back to me and he says, Jim, he says, I don't think we can make it and I don't think it will work. Well, I knew it would work because I was making them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So I laid low for about 5, 6 years and watching technology get a little bit better and a little bit better. And so then I approached Scientific Anglers because at first I wanted them to make it for themselves and I could sell a lot of them for them. I wasn't even
yeah,
thinking of our company.
yeah,
But but so anyway, at that point, I we got a hold of Ben Silknetter and Howard West, and I said, well, I'd like to private label my lines. And they said, well, to private label, you have to order 1,000 a year, every year at least, to maintain private label. Well, that's a lot of fly lines, and
yeah,
so they didn't want me to do something that they didn't feel like I was going to be successful with. So I held off for a little bit. And then I woke up one morning and I told Donna, I says, I'm going to do it. And
yeah,
she says, what are you going to do? I says, I'm going to make the fly lines
yeah,
because all of us need these lines. I mean, to make everything better for all of us. And so I did. And in the first year now, we sold almost 4,000.
right.
I mean,
Yeah,
it was just unbelievable. And they couldn't stop us. I mean, we were off the charts going, the stripers guys and bluefish on the East Coast, up in Alaska. I mean, guides and outfitters are recommended bring a teeny T200 or a teeny
yeah.
300 or
The boat
or a or a
features.
mini tip. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, and the lines are, I'm so proud of them, but they're perfect. And we've never had to change them from the original, from when I came out in '83, and all the other people that are trying to knock off our lines, the other companies, they've never quite figured it out.
yeah,
They
yeah,
even, so they they think if you tweak this or do that, if I could have made them better, if they could have been made better, I would have done it. I
yeah,
mean, they're just they're casting and fishing machines. I mean, they're just smooth. And then the only thing we've done different now is we put a welded loop on the tip end, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
just
yeah,
because everybody likes that and it's easier. So
yeah. Yeah, a little more exchangeable and whatever guys are using other, whatever
I,
concoctions on the end of their fly
we're,
lines.
we're
But going up
I
there,
didn't hear what you said.
I said yeah, the tip section being having a loop on there. There's a lot of guys nowadays that want to add their different little leaders or whatever they got. So it's a pretty quick and easy fix or change, right? But
Yeah, yeah, it is.
the
And
tin,
some people will cut the loop off,
yeah,
because they want
they
to
do.
put their own knot. And that gives them an option. They have the loop or they don't.
Yeah.
But sure.
But your fly lines, Jim, you're a household name to anybody that fishes, big water for sure. I mean, these shooting lines, shooting heads, these sink tips where you can probe different depths of the water, the different zones with unweighted flies. It was a game changer for, you've done so much for fly fishing just with that alone. It's amazing. And thank you for that. I want to thank you.
Well, well, thank you for your compliments, Brad. I really do appreciate that. I honestly, when I did it and I wanted to make the lines, it wasn't just for me, it was for everybody.
Yeah,
I thought we've got to have a better mousetrap. We got to be able to cover some of the waters because the first time that Howard West from Scientific Anglers came out, this is years back, he wanted to winter steelhead fish with me. So Ben Silknetter and we went out and we fished for I think 2-3 days, but we only really caught like maybe a couple winter steelhead. And then Howard said to me, he says, "Well, what do you think of our sinking lines?" And I says, Howard, I said, you have the best sinking lines out there. Your high speed, high D lines. But I said, if you want to fish these bigger rivers like we have, the bigger volume,
yeah,
you're going to need a line that'll sink 2 to 3 times faster. So to get the fly down to the fish,
right.
I said, and he went home and he got home and he made their very first deep water express shooting heads and sent some to me. I got the first ones. I trimmed them down, took the 3 foot taper off of each end because it was 30 foot, so I made them 24, spliced it to a running line, and that was that that tripled my fish hookups just
Yeah,
because. The only
yeah,
thing is I had that knot, and if you stripped it in too far into your guide, sometimes it would hang up. You know what
right,
I mean?
right.
And but that was the way beginning,
Yeah, yeah,
way back, and then later I did that. But it was, you know, it's really nice because fly fishing is a lifetime sport. It's one that everybody can enjoy, and you don't really have to be a good caster. If you're an okay caster and you present right, you can catch a lot of fish. It's
sure.
not like I got to cast 100 feet every
No,
cast,
no, no,
you
no.
know. So it's just, I don't know. I love it.
Yeah,
as
exactly.
you as
I
you
always,
as
I
you
always
do.
say this, Jim, that, there's actually, when I look at fly fishing, there's fly fishing and fly casting. I know guys that are really good fly casters and pretty good anglers too. And I know some guys that are average fly casters, but they're really good fly fishermen because they know
Hmm.
how to present the fly. They know where the fish are. They put the rest of the program together. Like you say, you don't have to throw a 100 footer out there to get the job done, but you have to put it in
Right.
front of feeding fish.
But look at all the beautiful fly patterns that you've made through the years, and look how many fish that you've caught. I mean, there's a lot of us out there trying to help everybody. So
Yeah.
whenever you tie a new fly pattern, you don't keep it a secret. You share it.
Yes.
And I think some of the new kids, they get onto something and they go, I ain't telling nobody. You know what I
No,
mean?
no, 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 no. You gotta give it away and help everybody, and it makes the sport a lot better. And it's very rewarding to help someone, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's where, like, when we met at a show, I mean, you enjoy visiting with all the people, doing your seminars, helping the people, and you're very, very enthusiastic. It's not a job for you. It's a lifelong dream you're living every day. I know it is.
Thank you, Brent. I know you're the same, but it really is. I do enjoy it, and I mean my friend Steve Dorn in past many years past, we go to stream and somebody go, hey, Jim Teeny, or like that, and I could see they were having trouble, and I'd go and I'd either give them some flies or help them a little bit, and Steve would wander off. He goes, Jim, he says, because I've never seen you turn anybody down that asked for help or needed help
Well,
on the river.
That's right.
and I'll take that time to do that because I enjoy it.
That's right. And that's why I started this little podcast, Pass It On, because I think it is so important that this is conveyed to all the other anglers out there. Just helping someone in your own little way really does mean a lot to the next angler, especially newcomers and intermediate anglers that might be struggling with something. And, just make their day a little bit. And, you're a lot better person for it too.
Oh yeah. Well, Brent, back in 1983 when I first came out with our fly lines, I've got a couple short stories if I can tell them if we have time. You
Yeah.
know. Okay. Well, one of them, Irwin Brown was the vice president of the 3M company, Minnesota Mining. And he was a good friend of Donna's and mine. And he goes, Jim, I have 47,000 people working under me. We're up there, my first year with the T series. We both have T300s on, and he stops and he looks at me, he goes, Jim, this is the best casting heavy sinking line I've ever fished. And I said to him, and I says, wow, that's a nice compliment coming from you. And then a few minutes later, he looked at me and he said, why didn't we think of this? Which I know what he meant was, why didn't scientific anglers think of this? And
Yeah.
that was quite a nice compliment, and
Exactly.
coming from Irwin Brown. And then another time, just in the fall, then uh, I'm fishing down on the Trask River, and my lines are brand new, right? I see this guy up above us, and he's got a T300 because it's orange, and I could tell he was struggling. And I think he was about ready to throw the rod and reel in the river and walk away. So I waded up to him. I says, "Man," I says, "can I help you? Show you how to fish this line?" He goes, "Would you please?" So I told him. I said, "Well, the color change from the orange to the dark." That should be at your rod tip or within a foot or two, one way or the other. Then
Yeah.
you can roll up to the surface, single false cast, boom, it's gone. It's wherever you want it to go. I said, but he had way too much orange out past the rod tip and he couldn't even pull it up or do it. And once I showed him that, he we all hooked so many fall king salmon that day. It was really good. But I mean, that was a good experience. I looked up there and I thought, man, he's not doing too good, you know.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
but so and that's what people should do is to help each other, you
Yeah.
know.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, over the years, Jim, you've done a lot of trips. Like you've done a lot of hosted trips, like all over the world.
Yes, I have. I've got, there's only like two spots left on a trip I've got on the end of October going down to Jurassic Lake in Argentina. And
Yeah.
I've been there several times. These are those
Yeah.
honking big rainbows,
I've
like the
heard of
ones
that.
that you've had up there. But Jurassic Lake it's a total different fishery. And
Yeah.
there's only two openings there. But I do every year my trip coming up the 4th of July with Dave Duncan and Sons up in Alaska. And this will be my 44th year in a row on the same trip. I mean, it's
Isn't that?
so good. I mean, the kings, chums, and sockeye coming in from the ocean, and I mean, it's a lot of action and a lot of fun,
Yeah.
and and I'm really looking forward to that. And then gosh, I mean, we've done trips to the Bahamas and a lot of different places. But this is what the direction I really want to go is to get some really good people and friends and get groups and go
Right.
on these trips, places where we've been that we know, and the timing is important. You want to be there when they're either there or they're in good shape, good condition if it's migratory stuff. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I love to do that, and I'm hoping to do more of that. So,
Now, well, I hope to get on one of those trips with you, Jim. We'll just keep talking about it, and I haven't got there yet. But
oh no, but
you couldn't ask for a better host because, like you said, you've been on that water for decades and decades, and you've seen so many different seasons. You know all about it. You're a great host. I mean, you can't get a nicer guy to be around than you. But you're so
thank you.
knowledgeable and know your way around. So I mean, anybody that's looking for a great trip, I mean, They should. I'm going to put on the end of this podcast, Jim. I'd like to put your contact information on if anybody wants to uh, connect with you as far as doing any trips. And also, you've got, you've done a lot of books and so forth as well. Have you still have any books for sale, or where are you standing on that situation?
Well, you know that I did a big coffee table book, Fly Fishing Great Waters, and
Yep.
it's hardbound. And I've had that. We when we first printed it, we had 4,000. We're down to about 240 right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
But it's really and I wrote it out all longhand, all from memory, and then I had the pictures to go in there
Yep.
because otherwise than that, nobody are when we pass away, our kids would, well, we don't need this. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
I wanted to share my experiences, so I did it all in chapters. So the book is like there's a chapter on the Western states, one on Alaska,
Yep.
one on British Columbia, one on Florida and the Bahamas, one on
Yep.
South America, one on England. I mean, one on Russia. So it's just it gives you an idea, or you could say, well, I want to, what did they do in Russia? You can go look at it. You know what I mean? And I enjoyed doing that. It took me 2 years to do it, to get it to that point. And then Donna came in and cleaned it up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But that
Yeah.
was a huge endeavor, and I imagine, like, I can't even comprehend how many trips and destinations you've seen and the days you've been on the water, and keeping that all recorded. Like, I definitely, when we get off here, I want to order one of them books for sure. That is something I love to have, because I'd read that cover for cover. I don't like reading novels or anything, but I like reading the facts, and you will definitely have that in here. So I'd be very
Oh,
interested in that, Jim.
well, it's not, I can tell you, it's not political. You know what
No,
I mean?
no, no.
It's all trips and
Yeah,
experiences
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and everything. And I was happy to do that. So I'll make sure that you have one for sure.
But
So,
it's very, very nice that you've kept this recorded, like to say, because otherwise, this everything that will be lost at some point if you don't record it.
yeah, I know. I mean, I would, I just, when I first got into the sport, my goal was to not copy anybody, but to add and contribute to the sport.
Yeah,
So think we may not have like a lot of different products, but what we have are our products, and and that's what we use, and that's what we do, and
yeah,
that has attributed to our success.
yeah,
It's not like somebody has a great idea. Oh yeah, let's knock it off. Well,
yeah.
that's not us.
Put
We
your
don't
spin
do it.
on it. Yeah, yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
That happens too often. I know remember that line of jigs that we had for steelhead and salmon jigs. I had
Oh yeah.
I had a big company that tried to do that to us, and that didn't work, didn't do well for them. But they weren't tying them right. I mean, there's a thing. There's a reason they work, and sometimes it could be a little hard to figure out. But there's a method when you're designing flies or designing your lines. I haven't got a clue how you do, but it didn't happen by accident.
No, no, it didn't. I mean, a lot of thought goes into flies and fly lines, and
Yeah,
I mean, you know, you could even break it down into length of leader
yeah,
and the
yeah,
density of your sinking, and
yeah,
I mean, there's just so many factors, but they're all fun, and it's all a learning curve for all of us. I mean, some days you go out there and you do better than others,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
so it's like when you light up the water, it's like so rewarding,
Oh,
when
yeah, yeah,
you know you're in it, you're doing it.
yeah. When you're in the zone and you have the mojo, right, Jim?
Right. Yeah. So,
So I was going to ask another deal. I was chatting with Donna there when you were just getting hooked up here for this podcast today,
uh-huh.
and like Donna's run the Andros Bone Fishing Club for a number of years, hasn't she?
Well, she did. She managed that for 9 seasons for Rupert Leedon in the Bahamas there at Andros Island. And it was, and see, rainbows were always her favorite fish, like
Yeah, yeah,
steelhead, right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Well,
she's told me
as,
that.
as soon as she got into the bonefish, that changed. You know what I mean? Now
Yeah,
I like bonefish. That's my favorite, and she
yeah,
really does. We've actually been away from that for quite a while. We're hoping to, to maybe get a small group and go down again because they really are fun,
yeah,
and
yeah. Yeah.
they're like ghosts on the flats.
Yes, they are. They are. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll
Yeah,
come and do that with you.
that would be
I'd like
that would
to.
be
Yeah,
fun.
I fished Cuba and Florida and all that, but I haven't been on the Bahamas. And I know Rick Warwood. I don't know. You know Rick, I'm sure.
Uh
Uh,
huh.
him and Chard, they've done schools in Bahamas. I know that, and
Yes.
it's probably one of the, like according to Rick, it's probably the best bone fishing destinations on the planet. So
Well,
for
it is
numbers,
pretty good because you can sometimes, you'll see some big schools and then sometimes you'll see some smaller schools, but they'll be bigger fish,
bigger
or
fish. Yeah,
a lone fish. Yeah. I mean, I remember, one morning, they weren't as busy. Rupert said to Donna, let me take you bone fishing. Let me go. So they went out, and that morning she got a 14, a 13, an 11, and an 8 pound bonefish. She got
wow,
four, yeah, four big bones.
that's
I mean,
incredible.
I know, hey, listen, I've been down there quite a bit. The biggest one I've landed is like 9.
Yeah.
I haven't got that.
That's a big bone. Yeah, absolutely,
But
absolutely.
I mean, Donna got a 13, a 14, 11. I mean, those
Yeah,
are big.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, those are
No,
those are monsters.
they
So
sure.
I'll have to talk nice to Donna and ask her if she would like to come on one time. We'll do a podcast, talk about a little more about her bone fishing experience, and also about women fly fishing. Like say, uh, it's really nice to see all these ladies getting into sport. And you and I can both know this, that women make better fly anglers than men because they're got lots more patience and really present the fly well and think things through a little more. I think.
Well, and they're better listeners. I mean, if somebody's trying to help them or instruct them, they listen.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we've got all our preconceived ideas, and sometimes the guys do, and so that's why I can't tell you how many times I've been fishing, whether it's been Alaska or wherever, and the wives outfish the husbands. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
it happens way too many times.
We're talkers and their listeners. We're talkers
Yeah.
and their listeners. And I get told
Well,
that all the time, believe me. Yeah.
so we had a day in 1995. We're up on the Connecticut River, and we're fishing with John Randolph, editor of Fly Fisherman
Yeah.
magazine,
Yeah.
Lefty Cray, and the night before this one particular day, we were going to go to a place called the Tundra Bank, and Donna she goes, you stay right close to me. You stay right next to me. You don't leave me. I says, I won't, but you're going to do fine. Well, that day she outfished all of us. She
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it was one big king after another. And she landed an absolutely beautiful 50-pound chrome male with sea
Wow.
lice on it.
Goodness,
It took her
goodness.
almost an hour to get it in. And then
Okay.
I says, honey, can you hold it up so I can get a picture? She says, I can't lift it. After an hour of
Oh, no
battling,
kidding.
but
No
but
kidding.
so I said, well, at least prop it up because it was laying on its side. So she propped it up, and I got some nice pictures of that.
Wow.
But it was a beautiful fish. It
That's
was
a beast.
gorgeous.
That's a beast.
Yeah. Oh, we all slammed them though. I mean, everybody did
Yeah.
good. Donna did better.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that story too well. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jim,
Well,
I really do appreciate your time today. And we'll try to do this again. We'll figure out another topic or two to tangle because you've got so much to share. And I do really appreciate your time and getting a chance to visit again with you. And thanks from all us fly anglers for everything you've done for the industry and the sport. It's been a great, great mission that you've been on.
well, Well, thank you, Brent. I mean, we've been long awaiting this podcast, and
Yeah,
I was so looking forward to doing it, and by golly, we just did it. So, and anytime I'd love to do it again with you, and please give Diane my best always.
I sure
Yeah.
will, Jim. Okay.
All right.
Thank
Thanks
you
so
very
much,
much.
Brent.
Okay. Have a great day. Say hi.
You
Hi to Donna.
you too.
Okay.
You
Bye-bye.
take care. Bye.
Check out these integrated fly lines designed by Jim Teeny. They remain the premium lines for serious fly anglers. Here is a beautiful book for your coffee table. It is full of stories and photos of Jim and Donna Teeny's lifetime of fly fishing around the world. Book a hosted trip with Jim and Donna Teeny at some great destinations that have been fished by them personally for decades. If you are a serious collector, you will like this opportunity to buy a limited collection of Jim Teeny's custom tide flies in a gold stamped leather wallet. Thanks for watching Brent's fly fishing instructional series. He can be found on Brent's YouTube channel and Sport Fishing on the Fly.